So guys, welcome back to the channel, and on today's video, Brooks has given us an update to their classic max cushioned premium daily trainer. It's an update to the GLYCERIN, and this is my review of the GLYCERIN 22. Let's get into it. Alright, before we get started, a few disclosures. Brooks was good enough to send me this pair, the GLYCERIN 22, for the purpose of review. However, they haven't told me what to say. They don't have any editorial privileges, and all the thoughts and opinions are my own. With that said, you're going to be able to pick up a pair of the Brooks GLYCERIN 22 for $165, and it's going to be available February 1st. And guys, Brooks has made some pretty big changes to this shoe. Well, one really big change that I think you're going to like, or at least I like, so I'm going to project that onto you. And this change, I think makes the GLYCERIN like a more palatable shoe for a lot of runners. But I'll explain more as the video goes on. But let's get started with a few specs. You guys know how much I love running shoe specs. Now, the GLYCERIN 22 has 38 in the heel, 28 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. Look, I know a lot of you out there, you don't like a 10mm drop shoe, but there are a lot more of you out there that do really like a 10mm drop shoe. It's comfortable, it's easy on your Achilles, and a 10mm drop is it's a really friendly drop. Now, I already said that the GLYCERIN 22 is $165. That is a $5 price increase over the GLYCERIN 21 last year. Now, Brooks claims that in a US men's size 9, the GLYCERIN 22 will tip a scale at 10.2 ounces or 289 grams. However, in my size, a US men's size 13, the GLYCERIN 22 tips the scale at 12.7 ounces or 360 grams. So it's not an incredibly light shoe. But remember, this is a plush daily trainer. This shoe is built for comfort, and it delivers on that promise. It is comfortable to wear, it's comfortable to run in. Now, this year, Brooks decided to do something a little different. Not only did they raise the price, they increased the weight of the GLYCERIN 22 over the GLYCERIN 21. In fact, in my size, remember, US men's size 13, the GLYCERIN 22 weighs 24 grams more than the GLYCERIN 21 in the same size. And I gotta say, yeah, when I'm holding them both, that 24-gram difference is noticeable in my hands, but I've also got to say that when I'm running in them, it's really not noticeable. In fact, I'll talk more about the ride towards the end of this video and how even though the GLYCERIN 22 is just slightly heavier than the 21, I still think you're going to want to consider the newer model, right? So let's start at the top and work our way down. And if I hold this up, you can see this is exactly what you have expected with a plush premium daily trainer. We have a lot of padding around the heel collar. It is pretty plush, but this time Brooks has given a much more premium appearance to the GLYCERIN. We have a recessed padding around the heel collar. Now, it is kind of like a bolster padding, so when you put that ankle in, you get that nice squeeze around your ankle, making you feel locked in. But that padding doesn't go all the way to the top of the heel collar. In fact, we can see a nice thin knit piece right here that's thin right around the rim of the heel collar, and I think that just looks really nice. We've also got a nice knit heel pull on the back of the GLYCERIN now, which is actually very reminiscent of the Nimbus. But I suppose it doesn't matter where it came from. I mean, heel pulls have been around forever, but gotta say, the heel pull on this GLYCERIN 22 does remind me of the heel pull on the Nimbus, but I gotta say, it works. I think the GLYCERIN 22 looks a lot better than the predecessor, the GLYCERIN 21. Now, Brooks has updated the upper of the GLYCERIN 21. They're using a new engineered double jacquard knit upper, and it provides a nice flexible and accommodating fit. There's a lot of room in the toe box, and I think Brooks does pretty well at this, but there seems to be a lot of room overall without being too roomy. So when I put my foot into the GLYCERIN 22, I do get a good lockdown. It feels like the shoe fits me, but it also feels like that the GLYCERIN 22 is going to work for a lot of people with wider feet than me. And I think this is probably why Brooks has seen such success with this type of shoe, their padded daily trainers, because they are so comfortable and they fit a wide range of feet. Much like the padding around the heel collar, the tongue on the GLYCERIN 22 is definitely a daily trainer type of tongue. Now, I say that tongue in cheek because on race day shoes, I'll often say that I don't like the type of super padded tongues that we find on daily trainers, and I'm not changing my tune now. These super thick tongues are not my favorite, but it fits with the rest of the shoe. There's a lot of padding. This shoe is made for comfort. You just repeat that. This shoe is it's like a Cadillac. You get in, your feet are just enveloped in cushion, and your feet just feel good. And the tongue contributes to that. Now, the tongue is not gusseted. We do have a lace loop right here, and I didn't experience any tongue migration while I was running in it. All in all, a really good fit. As far as overlays, underlays, support, of course, we've got the Brooks logo on both the medial, lateral side. Got an underlay coming around the toe box just to keep that knit upper off your foot. Some reinforcement along the eyelet chain. Seems Brooks is alternating between kind of like a shock cord lace loop right here, and then traditional lace loop through the actual upper on every other lace hole. We do have the extra hole in case you want to do the lace lock method, but honestly, I think I skipped this before, but the heel counter on the GLYCERIN 22 is like, I mean, if you hit someone with this, you probably do some damage. It is solid like a rock. But on the plus side, it keeps that heel really locked in, really in place. There is no danger of your heel slipping in the Glycerin 22. Okay. Let's move on down to the midsole, because I think this is what is going to make the Glycerin 22, I think, well, let me just say this. I think it has the potential to make the Glycerin 22, or this type of shoe, even more popular than it has been before. Because Brooks is now using DNA Tuned as their midsole foam in the Glycerin 22. And DNA Tuned is brand new. Well, it's not brand new. It was first seen in the Glycerin Max. We now see it in the Glycerin 22. And guys, if you saw my video on the Glycerin Max, you know how much I enjoyed that shoe. And it was even heavier than the Glycerin 22, but it was so much fun to run in. I mean, it was deceptive how good the shoe felt on my foot compared with how much it weighs. And the same is true with the Glycerin 22. I think Brooks' new DNA-tuned, nitrogen-infused midsole foam, I think it makes the Glycerin more of a running shoe rather than just like a lifestyle shoe. Because, you know, the Ghost, the Glycerin, like the type of Brooks shoe that looks like this, is the type of shoe that people buy to just wear around, to wear everywhere. Like I see this and I think, you know, it's a dad out on the town wearing a pair of Brooks. Right, not particularly stylish. And I say not particularly stylish, but that's when I compare it to the like Brooks Hyperion 2. And, you know, do you see my video, like the best shoes of 2024? This shoe was on it. And I gotta say, so I think this shoe just looks really sharp. And it's only when I compare the styling of like the Ghost, and in this case the Glycerin, to the Hyperion, that I think this is a little boring. But my point isn't to just bag on the appearance of the Glycerin 22, it's to say that it is vastly improved and it's much more of a runner shoe now because of this DNA-tuned midsole foam. So if you have bought a Glycerin in the past and maybe you use it for going to the shops, maybe mowing the lawn, and you use it for running, I think you are really in for a treat with the running side of it, because it is much more of a running shoe now thanks to this DNA-tuned midsole foam. Now, the DNA-tuned midsole foam, I guess I haven't explained it, but it's the star of the show because it uses dual cell size technology. So basically, it is one piece of midsole foam, but inside the midsole foam, we're using both large cell foam and small cell foam. And they've got more large cell foam in the heel, and that's going to provide soft landings for those of us that heel strike. And then as we move up to the forefoot, we have small cell foam. And you can actually see it on my colorway. You can see this yellow part kind of in between these cutouts of the rubber. That's the small cell foam. And that's going to make for a more responsive ride. So it's kind of like a reverse mullet with, you know, business in the back, party in the front. And even though my opinion of this shoe, what it's actually used for, hasn't changed. This is a daily trainer. This is what you're going to put most of your easy miles in. This would be a shoe for me that I grab when I'm going out for a long run and I'm just going to set the pace nice and easy and forget it and go out for a long time, because my main focus is just comfort. But because of this small cell foam technology in the front with the DNA tuned, I'm able to pick up the pace when needed. So if I want to do a fast finish to that long run, it's going to feel a lot more snappy in the Glycerin 22 than it would have in the Glycerin 21. Same thing at the end of easy runs when I want to do strides. The Glycerin 22 is going to be a lot more snappy. And maybe snappy is the wrong word, but it's going to be snappier than another premium daily trainer without this DNA-tuned midsole foam. Now, we've already seen it when I showed you the yellow for the small cell foam technology, but you can see we've got a lot of outsole rubber here, got some flex grooves in the front just to add to that snappiness. And actually, while I'm bending that, let me just bend that on camera. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bendy. It's actually stiffer than I thought it would be. Of course, there's no plate inside. It's just the stiffness of the foam. And then we've got this additional rubber here on the heel, and it's segmented to give a smoother ride. So if you do land on this lateral heel edge, that's where it's going to feel like you're landing. It's not going to feel like the whole shoe is bending to accommodate your landing. So overall, the Brooks Glycerin 22 is a vast improvement. Even though in my size, this weighs 24 grams more than the Glycerin 21, the Glycerin 22 is a far more fun ride for us actual runners. Now look, if you would rather save money, and hopefully when the Glycerin 22 goes on sale, the Glycerin 21 you'll be able to pick up for a song. If like running performance isn't the number one thing that you're after with a daily trainer, I mean, like if you are looking for a lifestyle shoe, definitely go ahead and pick up the Glycerin 21. I mean, especially if it's a better price. But if you are actually going to run in the Glycerin, the 22 is the one to pick. Alright guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever run in the Brooks Glycerin? I mean, like any over the years? Drop a comment and let me know. And with that, it's Matt D. This has been my review of the Brooks Glycerin 22. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.